Welcome to the Focused Fundraiser. This is where I get to discuss how to focus on the right fundraising practices with fellow fundraisers who are in the trenches and doing the work day in and day out. Today, I am joined by Amanda Clark-Wahl, who is the founder of Cocktails and Caregivers. Amanda, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
All right, so start us off by sharing a bit about yourself and your path into starting this nonprofit.
Yes, thank you. I always kind of say I'm a real fake it till you make it nonprofit gal, which I think is you talk to a lot of us, we're probably all just trying to figure it out as we go along. I kind of fell into this. My husband was diagnosed with colon cancer when we were very young, newly married in 2011. And I found myself in this role that I knew nothing about. And I remember very vividly a nurse walking in and saying, "Are you his caregiver?" And I kind of looked around like looking for an old lady. And I was like, "No, I'm his wife." And it went from being a shock to kind of a role that I found a lot of honor in and pride as I cared for him. We started sharing our story. We were young, we were facing cancer. And at that time, it was like the early days of the GoFundMes and the fundraising kind of very organic like that. And friends and family started leaning in to help us. And my husband sadly passed away in 2014. But I felt like we had kind of built the groundwork for something. And I didn't even know quite what it was yet. But I knew I really had a passion for caregivers. And I realized so quickly how invisible they were, how lonely I was. And Cocktails and Caregivers was kind of born from that. Just the very basic things that I knew I needed as a caregiver, as simple as a card in the mail. Um, some of the financial help that friends were giving me by clicking that donate button on the GoFundMe's and how much that helped us. I knew how much we could do and how little there is out there for caregivers. So everything we do at the nonprofit is focused on just lightening the load for caregivers, helping them feel seen. And we kind of change our path and move and are flexible all the time because those needs change. But at the root of it, it's filling the cups of caregivers and giving them a voice. So it's been a crazy 10 years. But I'm really proud of the work that we're doing.
That's such an impactful one. I resonate deeply with that of helping those who help others. It's so good.
Mhm. Thank
And
you.
sorry for your loss.
Thank you.
So you work full time in the for-profit sector, is that correct?
I do. Yeah, I have a full-time job. And then I have a team of people that we've been able to bring on for the nonprofit, which is anyone who's growing a business, like a nonprofit knows the balancing all of that to keep a strong fundraising while also knowing that you need people. So just this last year, we actually hired our first employee, an executive director. So she's running and gunning and able to get out there and do a lot of the work that I just didn't have enough time for anymore. But I love it because now I can focus on what I'm doing with you today, sharing our story, talking to other caregivers, talking to other people out there to tell them about what we do, helping kind of spread that message. So, yeah, a lot of people on the team that volunteer, but we do have our very first employee that started this year, which has been a big moment for us.
That's exciting. So,
Yeah.
all right. So for you started a nonprofit, you came in from the for-profit sector. I'm curious to know what lessons about donor and supporter behavior translated between the two worlds. How did you take what you were doing in the marketing side of things and bring it into fundraising?
Yeah, well, I actually, I was a TV reporter when I very first kind of started all of this, and so I understood storytelling at its core, just the way that you tell a story, the way that you can pull the emotion, and find connection, and that people will never remember half of what you say, but they always remember how you make them feel, and that moment of emotion and connection is what I think makes a nonprofit work. It's what I think makes someone feel compelled to give. When it comes to fundraising, I think we could throw a bunch of stats at them, tell them how many care packages we're sending, how many grants, and that's great. But when we talk about the family that we just recently helped pay for their moving expenses so that they could be closer to the hospital and help take some of that burden off the caregivers, they remember that. They remember those stories. They remember, that emotional pull. So for me, that's what's been the biggest translation is just it's all marketing. It's all storytelling. It's and I think in nonprofit world, we're almost, like, afraid sometimes to make it so emotional because it makes us feel like we're not business enough, like, they need to know that this is where their dollars are going, and I got an annual report to give, and all those things matter, of course, but I just think that when you really peel it back, that those marketing storytelling moments, they don't go away, and they're what I think our biggest differentiator has been is that we were born from storytelling, and we're constantly still telling the stories of caregivers, and I hope that people read them and see them and, find connection in that, find some of their voice.
Hmm. You said something I think that's important. So, for fundraisers listening, where do you see most organizations getting storytelling wrong?
You know, even for us, I mean, I'm a storyteller by nature, and when we had, a consultant come in to help us, she said, "Okay, tell me quickly, what is Cocktails and Caregivers?" And I stood there, I was like, "We give grants, care packages, we offer in-person support," and I didn't say a single thing about anybody we helped. I didn't say and she was like, "Okay, that's great, but, like, don't you have a story?" And I was like, "Yeah, I mean, of course I have a story. I just got off the phone last week with a caregiver who's gotta get to Houston, Texas to get her husband, on a trial. They can't afford it. They have a little boy. They're going in financial strain. We were able to send them a check for $4,000 and cover their hotel and their flight." And what she said to me was like, "Thank you for giving me hope." Like, "Thank you for giving me hope." And it was so much more than it wasn't, "Thanks for giving me a plane ticket." It was, "Thank you for giving me hope." That's the story we gotta be telling, and I think you just forget. You get so busy in the business side of it and trying to make sure that you're hitting the numbers that it's easy to get distracted and forget why we're here.
I think there's a piece in our culture too where emotion can sometimes it can feel taboo to be emotional out in public with people that aren't intimate with you or family. And so when you start to tell a story, you are yourself becoming transparent, but also expecting emotion to come from both sides. And so it can feel awkward if you're not leaning into it, right?
And for me, I think I've sometimes I feel a little imposter syndrome, like, I wanna walk in and I want those CEOs and leadership people that I'm gonna be asking money for to know, like, I'm a business person too, and I'm here to I'm gonna do right by your money, and of course, like, I need to be able to talk that language, but we're people. And when you talk about something like caregiving, almost every person has had that role either touch their lives or it will touch their lives because the research shows that you're either going to be a caregiver or be cared for just as part of the human experience. And so why wouldn't we be talking about that? But I think it's you got to allow yourself to be there and you got to have a couple of those stories fresh in your mind that you know like gosh, what was it that really made me stop and think this week? Um and I think that's important.
A piece of this is messaging for nonprofits in their brand and their marketing. Um, what would you say? What should stay consistent year after year in messaging, and what should change for nonprofits?
That's a great question. I think for us, our message stays the same in shining a light on caregivers. And I think that having that line, that mission helps us stay centered, but what I do think needs to change are the ways we do that. So some of the programs we offer, we have to be willing to take a look at it and say, "Is that even working? Is that even doing what we want it to do?" And that's a lot of conversation with caregivers to make sure that we don't get too far removed. I mean, I haven't been an active caregiver now for 10 years. My husband passed away in 2014 and I can definitely dig deep into those memories, but I'm not living it daily like I was. So I need to make sure I'm touching base with the people and say, "Is this what you still need? Is this what you want?" But the mission of shining a light on caregivers and caring for caregivers, that kind of stays the same. And I think a lot of times when we get going on certain things, we'll go, "Wait a minute, is that still our mission? Like, are we what do we get going on over here? We kinda got a little crazy, you know?" So I but very open to flexibility and changing, and constantly moving because I think donors wanna know, what else are you guys doing right now? What's the new thing?" what's happening, what's a new way to pull them in to let them know something else we're doing. So some of that change I think is actually pretty impactful.
So would you say, to distill that down, it'd be your core message and so this is what we're always doing, but this is also what we're doing.
Mhm, mhm. Yeah, absolutely. And I think for us, because we are caring for caregivers, sometimes we can get pulled into a lot of different programs that people want us to kind of help, and we realize, oh gosh, we've stretched ourselves too thin. Um, we're in all these other different programs trying to support their needs that we've lost our mission a bit. So then, yeah, feeling it back into even if we're doing just a few things really well, versus having ourselves in every pocket of every organization that has a caregiving branch. So that's a hard one because I'm a yes person. So I'm always like, oh yeah, we'll be there. We'll do that. And I do want to be careful in the way that we, spend our fundraisers, spend our donors' dollars and the way that we're fundraising that we're doing what we say we're gonna do.
So on the fundraising side of things, we all know fundraisers are stretched thin. To your point, it's so easy to get spread across multiple priorities and call everything a priority. So when I think of this, if a team can only really do a few things well, what activities should be non-negotiable for raising revenue and raising funds for a fundraiser?
That's great. I think thank yous and connections to your top donors and even mid-level donors. Um, I think that when you get so focused on finding a new donor and you forget about the people that have been part of your team for a while, that's dangerous. We've done it. Um, I think that those thank yous are not that time consuming and they make a really big impact for fundraisers. Um, we've started trying to do some more videos, like a video of myself, thanking our donor for something very specific and being able to pop that into an email, um, you know, put that into the body and shoot that out to all the people we've seen donate in the last month. And we get good reaction from that. And it's like it wasn't that hard for me to do. But I would say that is you can't forget the people you have that you have on your team that believe in your mission. You gotta be out getting new people, but don't forget the people that have always been rooting for you.
And those videos that you're doing, are they polished or are they one-off, really quick thoughts?
Holding my phone up, taking a video, uploading it into the donor doc and shooting it out. No, because I think for a while we thought it had to be polished and it was taking us forever. And it was taking us forever and the budget and all the things where if I can just, have my phone out and make that video, it makes a big difference. We've even done it, not just thanking people, but a call to give if we've needed to. We kind of found ourselves in a pickle at the end of the year this year where, we had an allocated dollar amount that goes to grants for travel grants, and we had a wait list of 8 people. And we're like, gosh, what do we do? Do we roll this group into the next year's budget? Do we pull some funds? And we sat there and I was like, man, I think we I think we ask our donors. And I sat in my car and I made a video on my phone and I just explained exactly the true need. Like, it didn't need to have a catchy phrase, it didn't need to have I was like, "Hi, we have a wait list of 8 families right now at the end of the year, and it's kind of breaking my heart to think that we're not gonna be able to give them the hope that they need to end this year. Can you help me? Can you help me get to our goal? I think if we can hit $10,000, I can make this happen for them." And we did. And we did quickly. And we did by posting that video on social media, by sending it out in our donor doc email, by kind of hitting all the avenues, and we hit our goal. And it wasn't rocket science, It was like, just like, "Here's what I need." Exactly. And I think people resonate with that. It doesn't always have to be so complicated.
100%. I think if you look back 10 years ago, Polished felt like the organization had it together, but there's been
Mhm.
a solid shift even over the last few years of Polished can oftentimes pull you away from being as close to an organization as
Right.
unpolished videos do.
Mhm. Yeah, I love that. That's true.
So I'm curious to know metrics for this year. What are you personally watching closely for your organization?
Hi, well, I mentioned that we have our first employee. Um, we've never had that, money coming. I mean, we have had the money coming out, but in a different way, right? We're always able to look and say, "How many grants can we give?" And if we found ourselves in a pickle, we could hold on that, but this is a real life person that we're paying. Um, she's a modest salary, but I hope that it feels strong and respectable in the world of nonprofit because I do think nonprofits underpay. They're people who are doing a lot of hard work, and so we wanted to kinda balance that. So that feels scary. We have our big gala this year, our big fundraising event, which we do every other year. Anyone who works in nonprofits know events are amazing, but they're also expensive upfront. So that feels, always a little like we're watching every dollar to make sure we can have a really amazing event that people wanna come back to, but that we're also healthy. So that feels a little hard, but man, I love our gala. It's such an amazing. I always say, which is terrible fundraising. Maybe you shouldn't have me on the podcast. I'm a bad fundraiser, but I always say like, if we break even, that's good. I just want just so that we can just celebrate. I just want to have a moment where we're just celebrating what we've done, and even if that's it. Now we don't. We do very well, and because I think we put a lot of heart into it, but I just I always feel so good to have those events because it's a chance for us to recognize caregivers. We have them there in the room and thank our donors in person. But yeah, it's always a little if you're not scared, you're not doing it right, I guess. Just watching all the dollars, but we want to be strong and healthy for a big event year and then I want to feel success on the other end in a year from our new hire. I think she's allowing us to grow in so many ways that it's going to be very exciting to see where we are in a year from now.
Yeah, well, okay, so you're talking about looking ahead.
Mhm.
What fundraising habits do you feel like fundraisers need to learn in order to grow in the next few years
Mm.
from your experience?
You know, from my experience, it has been sitting closely with the numbers. And I am not a math person. It is my most uncomfortable probably area when it comes like put me on stage, let me ask for help, let me write an email, let me do the dinners, like I all that, but like the dollars always feel a little like, ooh, my left-sided brain can't tackle it. But I think getting a team of people that do understand it and can explain it to you a lot quarterly, monthly, every board meeting, you're taking a look at the numbers. I think it gives you peace and it allows you to see where maybe um, some spending is happening that doesn't need to. We had some silly tools and things that we were using. We were just able to strip away some things that had almost been like grandfathered in from the beginning 10 years ago. We're like, why are we paying for this random cell phone? We don't need to be anymore. Like we can cut some of that out. That has allowed us to feel comfortable to hire someone, which when you look at what matters. So I think that that is important is to just don't be afraid to sit closely with the numbers and that everyone on your team feels transparent in knowing where we're at. I think sometimes we were like scared to talk about it on a board meeting. We didn't want someone to see like, oh gosh, we're kind of low this month and create panic. But I think that when you have the whole family on board, everyone's striving for the same goal. So I don't know, that's helped me a lot. And I feel like I'm not in it alone. I've got the whole team saying, okay, guys, we gotta hustle. We gotta get some things moving and grooving here. If
Yeah.
that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, that's super good. And I always end with my last question is always what I call the tactical takeaway, something very pragmatic that nonprofits and fundraisers can do today. I'm going to take one before I ask you this question from what you just said. And the one thing that I think every fundraiser should do today that matters the most is to consolidate your tools. There is money being spent on tools you're not using anymore, and that's money that could be spent elsewhere, and it's saving you time to consolidate those tools into a single system. So,
Absolutely.
Amanda, what is one thing that every fundraiser should do today that you believe matters most?
I think you should shoot a text message to someone who's been involved in the organization and say thank you. I think that an email, a text message, some kind of quick communication just to say, "Hey, I just wanted to say, like, thank you so much for believing in our cause. Like, we got exciting things this year, and I'm happy to have you as part of our family, as part of our Cocktails and Caregivers family, because I just hope that there's so many things you could give to, right? I mean, how many times are you being asked at the end of the year, give to this, make your end of year donation? And if you're going to have a group of people that feel loyalty and connection to your cause, then you owe that to them as well. It's like a friendship, to just say a quick thank you, I think is an amazingly simple and impactful move that all fundraisers can be doing.
Amanda, thank you for giving this your advice today. This was huge. You had some really good expertise and experience from your own journey of building a nonprofit. So thank you for joining.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
For those listening, if you are curious about how DonorDoc can help you find that clarity, build a strong donor base through smart stewardship, you can visit us at donordoc.com to learn more. And we will see you next week.